good day, good afternoon, good night. How you doing? This is MCM and you're listening to You're Probably Right. Today we are going to have a serious conversation. Well, maybe not a serious conversation, but there's going to be a serious talk happening here. Now, of course, I'm only doing the talking, but just stay tuned.
Maybe your stupid opinions aren't right. And are you so sure your life is going so much the way you want it to go, and you're such a bloody paragon of virtue, and the light is shining out every orifice, and everyone who disabuses you of your notions is evil?
One, two, three, and we're on the air. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is MCM, and you're listening to You're Probably Right podcast. Today is a little bit different. I know I say that so much, but today we're gonna do a little bit of a visual podcast, which is a little bit weird because it's like you're staring into a camera. Maybe I should have flipped it. And I don't know. It's like you're talking to the man in the mirror. It's kind of strange. Anyhow, I want to talk about a couple things, and it's like where to begin. I wrote down a list the other day, and we're gonna start off with something really familiar, but really simple. Okay, so remember, because I am horrible at doing introductions to my show, apparently, this is You're Probably Right, and you are welcome at my house. Yes, you are welcome at my house anytime. Okay, so we're going to start off with a simple topic, and that is, you hear these words thrown around, and sometimes you just want to go over them a little bit, even in your own head, so you know the difference. So today, at the beginning of this podcast, I'm going to talk about the difference between celebrity versus influencer, because we hear that term influencer all the time, and I guess it is pretty simple, but let's just go between the two and see what we come up with. I was actually doing a little funny business on my phone here, just looking up stuff. So I always like to tell you where I got the stuff from. It's from pedia.com, PEDIAA.com. And yeah, I always like to give a shout out to wherever I got the information, because I'm going to read it off. Sorry. But I can say the opinion expressed by the following website, pedia.com, is theirs and their own. So I may not jive with it at all. So let me just start by checking it out. Let me blow this up a little bit for my eyes. Should be wearing my glasses, but whatever. Okay, so check it out. It says celebrity. So, left side, celebrity. A celebrity is someone who is famous, especially in areas of entertainment, such as films, sports, music, or writing. I guess that would be true. On the other side, an influencer is a person who has the ability to influence potential buyers of a product or a service by promoting or recommending them on social media. Right, so just keeping it simple, we'll go back and forth. The other side, again, celebrity, became famous through traditional channels such as television, radio. And on the other side, again, an influencer became famous through social media platforms. So you can think about, what would you rather be? I know I'll give you my answer after I go through their whole thing here. A celebrity gains social media following because people admire their talent and enjoy their work or traditional media. I guess so. That would be somebody like Joe Rogan or Mike Tyson. But the only thing is they're like both kind of, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, they gain social media following because because people admire them. So they've already admired, Joe Rogan's Fear Factor or his comedy. People have enjoyed Mike Tyson's fights and his media outbursts, I guess. And then on the other side, the influencer gains their following in a particular niche by creating content relevant to that niche. So I guess that would be something like the Logan Paul or who else is big on Mr. Beast, I guess. And I've never actually watched either of these people. I just hear people talk about them. That's funny, eh? Back on the celebrity side, may seem distant or aloof. So they're a celebrity, like, if you remember, and I'm sure a lot of you probably are not old enough to remember, when people like Mike Tyson Michael Jackson would barely show up at award shows, or his sister Janet. You'd barely see them anywhere, but we knew they were very famous. They were high celebrities. And then, when you see them, you like freak out, like, whoa, he actually showed up to the award show. Usually it's because they were getting an award, but whatever. The other side, influencer, usually regular people like me, but I'm not really an influencer, I suppose, and are relatable to followers. And of course I am, because you're just a regular person. Celebrity have a varied social media following consisting of many age groups, income levels, and geographic locations. So their fame is diversified. It's out there. You're all over the place. Like somebody like Martha Stewart. She's a celebrity. She has people who want to know how to cook, people who are now criminals, young and old. They're all over the place. Somebody like Donald Trump. He was a celebrity president, basically. Influencer usually have less varied following, as they usually specialize in a niche. So usually, like, as I said, somebody like Logan Paul, I know a lot of younger people know who he is, or what's that guy, K something. Anyway, he was a YouTuber, and he was boxing, whatever it is. It's like, I hear about these people, but I mean, it was probably for a younger audience anyway, so it's like I didn't decide to go see what they were about. The only reason why I know who any of the Paul brothers are, and I can't even remember if it was Logan or whatever the other one's name was, who fought Floyd Mayweather. I would never have known anything about it if he didn't fight him, to tell you the truth. Like, I would, like, it just wouldn't interest me. And I know that one thing I've learned is you have to limit yourself. You can't possibly try to know who everybody is. Like, at one point, there was a sweet spot, maybe early 2000s, where you could be all over and know a lot of different things and a lot of different people and a lot of different celebrities and a lot of different influencers. But now it's like, if you try to keep up with everyone, you'll have no time to actually live your own life. And that is certainly a horrible state to be in. Okay, so let's see. Celebrity, last one. Usually have a massive following, and influencer have lesser following. And I guess the only thing is some of those influencers have a huge following, and some of them have way more followings. Again, like a Logan Paul, I guess, or Jake Paul. I can't remember which one it is. Their following is probably bigger than a lot of celebrities, like no doubt. Even like fighters that they've fought, or like when the basketball player Nate Robinson got knocked out by one of the brothers, it was he was popular. I mean, he was known in China, he was known in Canada, United States, England, Europe, all over the world, but still he was just a player of the NBA, whereas whichever Paul brother it was, or he's just hugely famous. So I don't know if that one is so accurate, but I can honestly tell you, like, I've always said it before social media, before YouTube really kicked off. I was always saying I would like the ability to maybe purchase whatever I want to purchase, or give whatever I wanted to give without anybody necessarily knowing what I have. I can't say that I would really want to be that famous. And I would always say, like, do you think that Michael Jordan could just come and live next door to me? No way. He'd have paparazzi, he'd have beggars, he'd have all kinds of hanger-oners just trying to get up and just trying to move up in the world by leaning on him, or depending on him, or leeching off of him, or people who, might wish him harm because he defeated the LA Lakers back in the 80s. Like, you just don't know. He couldn't just be anywhere. So personally, I think I would choose to have the financial capabilities, the wealth to do whatever I want, rather than have all the money, but then you can't go anywhere without somebody bothering you. So I can't really say, like, I don't think, actually, I guess I would choose none. Yeah, I mean, a little following's okay. A big following from a place that you're not from is really okay. But being famous in your own city, like where you can't even put a hat on and fool anybody, or a pair of sunglasses, or whatever it is, I don't think I'd want to be that famous, to tell you the truth. There has to be so many downsides, and you see these people, they become famous celebrities, they become rich, and it's like they have to become their own jailer. They have to lock themselves away in a gated community. They have all the money, and they can bring many things home to them, and many of them do bring many things home to them, and a lot of time that doesn't work out too well in different respects. But yeah, I'd take the money without the fame. I always said, if I ever became rich, or if I ever won the lottery, one thing, and I know it's corny, you ask people, what would you do? And if I won the lottery, I don't know why there's so much noise upstairs. It's like whenever I do my podcast, there's like noise going on up all over the place. But I mean, so if you hear a little scream out here and there, it's just family members having a fun old time. You ask yourself, you say, what would you do if you won the lottery? So what's the lottery? What's a lot of money? I remember somebody asked Bob Marley that one time and said, do you consider yourself rich? And he said, no, I don't consider myself rich. Or do you have a lot of money? And he said, well, what do you call a lot of money? I thought that was interesting. You just look it up on YouTube sometime. I guess, like, if you won the lottery for $10 million. Now, that is nothing to some of those huge lotteries that people win, those big, huge winnings. But 10 million is enough to change your life for sure. Not even a question. So we'll just make it 10 million. And I always said, and I can't remember if this what it like the amount. I can't remember what it was because I think it was just straight up you won the lottery, a lot of money, a lot of life-changing money, switching hands and ending up in your hands. I always said that, okay, first, of course, you make sure your family is straight. And I mean, it's different now because my family is a lot older, or some have passed on. Personally, I would like to, if there was a church that I was a part of, I wouldn't mind paying off a mortgage. So, to keep motivation of that particular denomination pure and not what's it called? Not dependent on the government for when they change their initiatives in the world and want to dictate how you preach from a pulpit or whatever it is. Like, I would like to pay off a mortgage of a church doing God's work. That would be one of my definite wants when it comes to winning a lottery. Although many churches wouldn't even take the money from you because most ministers of the gospel don't believe in the lottery. Now, I suppose if you didn't tell them where the money came from, they might just pay the mortgage anyway if it just showed up in an envelope, which I'm sure it's happened like many times. People pay a little tithe or a little offering, whatever it is, from their winnings. But I would like to do that. And even if I just came into money somehow, from other means, whatever it is, and it was a lot of money like that. But I had weird desires. Like I said, you could go and you could say, okay, I'm going to buy a Ferrari, right? Lamborghini, whatever it is, hot, nice, fast, supercar, whatever of your choice of the day, whatever was good or would be good at that time. But I always said, you know what I would do? And I guess I could even say I would do that more now. I would actually just go and buy 5 or 7 Honda Civics and soup them up to the max and drive one of them on Monday, one of them on Tuesday, one of them on Wednesday, and et cetera, et cetera. So, and that would be my thing. And they would definitely be different colors of the day, like different colors for a different day of the week. It would just be that way. I would just go through them like that. And it might be cheesy, but that'd be one thing that I would do. What would you do? And maybe I would still go and get myself some serious luxury car. But I mean, I'd probably get a bulk discount on the Civic. Like, dream with me a little bit, people. You get the bulk discount so you can get 7 sets of rims. You could get, whatever spoilers or skirt packages in a bulk, so you get a deal. You change the campers and you change the shock system and the this and the that, and you do it all on 7s. You might be into a lot of money after. But anyway, I would definitely do that, I guess. Beyond that, what would be cool and weird at the same time? I used to always make a joke that if I ever won, I would get my friend's house uprooted and moved somewhere else, so that when he came home, the house isn't there. Now, that's probably the weirdest, dumbest thing you ever heard, but I mean, I guess this wouldn't really be a $10 million lottery, but just, I guess if I had like something that would be considered almost unlimited money or unlimited funds, and you had somebody really, really close to you that you could mess with like that, because you're, like picking up and moving somebody else's house, because for a fact that you're going to buy your friend a better house anyway, and that would just be a rich practical joke, and nobody would probably ever do that. But, it's just weird. I guess that's just be one of my weird dreams. of what I could do if I had a lot of money. But anyhow, so let's go to much deeper topics. All right. I don't even know if you can do that anymore. I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day and I just broke off into my fake English accent, not to be confused with my fake Jamaican accent. Now, don't get me wrong, I am Jamaican, and if needs be, I can break off into some type of patois, except if I'm upset. I can tell you a joke. It's not really, it's funny. It's funny or it's a joke on me where, so I ended up in this huge argument one time with the family member, and I don't know what it is with us kids from Jamaican families, I'll say, because I'm not gonna say that the people who born in Jamaica would have the same problem, but I guess they go in the reverse. But when some of us get angry, we revert to a certain level of patois or patois from Jamaica that we heard growing up that our parents maybe never necessarily even used, but for some reason it just make you want to feel like say you're a bad man and people must be afraid of whatever you have to say or whatever you gotta do. You know what I mean? Whatever you gotta do. You know what I mean? And I was arguing with this person. I was tired, and the patois didn't come out too nice. It didn't come out too proper. It sounded so fake. And that's all I could say. It was just horrible. I felt so stupid. That person was like, well, your accent's not even real. Like, you're trying to be Jamaican and you're not. And like, I am inside. You're like, it's like, okay, I wasn't raised there. So what do you want from me? I'm still Jamaican. But that was funny though. The Jamaican just came out of me. It's like, nah, you have to talk like you badass from wherever you from, boy. You can't put on other people's accents. And yeah, it was the dumbest thing. But anyhow, that was one of those embarrassing moments of your life that you just never forget. Yeah, I guess in my case, that's how I feel about it anyhow. Okay. But I do want to talk about some deeper topics. Now, you know, I try to think about, the world and, sometimes how we relate as people on this planet, depending on the time that we are from. Not saying that I'm like a time traveler or anything like that, if you probably don't even follow, because I'm speaking in parables slightly. And that's the one thing that I can honestly say is really difficult about having a podcast. It's, and I talked about this before, it's knowing how much of you can give to your podcast, knowing how much you can say of your own life. And it's like, is it my life? Can I be me? I was on my LinkedIn, and I was using Adobe Express. Now, Adobe Express, you should probably give me a little something as I'm shouting you out here. But I really like it. You can do so much on there with pictures, graphics, flyers, and all kinds of stuff. And I was doing my banner for LinkedIn, and it's like I had to decide, and I guess the easiest thing is that what I could have done is just make two, but what I wanted to do was I wanted to put my podcast on my LinkedIn profile, because it's like you say this and I do that and I've done this and blah, 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 blah. And podcaster happens to be one of those things, but it's like, why say it if you're not going to publicize it on your LinkedIn? I mean, LinkedIn is a kind of place where people have business and they may want to link up with other business. They want to network. Maybe somebody has a podcast, or maybe somebody wants to have a podcast, or maybe they just want to be interviewed on a podcast and have their voice and their business and their vision kind of get out there. And somebody who, like me, or someone who has a lot more listeners, they want to get their vision out there. So it's like kind of like a collabo kind of thing, or, you know, maybe you're a big star on your podcast on Apple or whatever it is, or Spotify, and maybe Nike wants to send in a representative, and they're going to give you an allotment of Jordans. They're going to give you every year of a Jordan and $5,000 to have their spokesperson come and talk to you about Nike. And, you know, it might be a cool thing, but the only thing is yes, I have my LinkedIn, I have a day job, but now when I try to bring my night job or my reel or my podcast personality to my LinkedIn, then, you know, worlds are colliding, and it's like, how much am I allowed to let my worlds collide without getting myself in trouble? Because, and you know, it's kind of weird because it's not like I'm like the face of my day job, like, you know, the person that's representing the company. But, you know, they put these loopholes in your contracts, or they make you sign off on these things nowadays where it's like, you will not embarrass the company in any way. You will not speak disparagingly about the company in any way. You will not bring shame. Like, all these different things, and they're paying you peanuts. You know, and who can say what they want to say? Maybe somebody like a Elon Musk or a Joe Rogan, or used to be Donald Trump, or Andrew Tate, or Jordan Peterson, or I think I said that already. But just like these people, all the rest of us bottom feeders is like, we're supposed to keep our mouths shut for under whatever dollars an hour, and maybe we might be able to have a little come up, but the whole time is we're supposed to be fearful that, well, I guess you don't have to be fearful if you always speak in favor of everything that is society's push at that particular time. But what many of us have found out is that the world's upside down. And that's the way I feel about it. And then for me to have a voice to say what I think, I have to be second guessing myself. I have to, can I say that? Can I say this? Can I say how I feel about this or that? And it's like, yeah, you can, but you might get fired. And if you get fired, well, your chances are you're going to have to pull the race card. The only thing is, what people haven't realized lately is the race card is totally changed. It was a regular card with a black strip on the back, and you could just push it in whenever, you know, you were uneasy about something and get the payoff. But now the race card has a chip. And they have programmed it with certain pieces, let's say, because I won't say the word, and it's different. You know, it's kind of funny. Remember that show, Orange is the New Black? All right, well, put those things together. I need another Diet Coke, or Coke Zero. It tastes so good. I'm so happy that I'm able to drink these things. Like, one time I'm like, what is this vile drink? I need all of my sugar. I need all of my calories. I don't want the light of anything. So needless to say, I didn't do it on my LinkedIn, even though I had all this amazing stuff from Adobe. I changed my LinkedIn. It looks pretty cool, but who knows? Maybe in the coming days it might change. Check out my LinkedIn if you know my name. It's not MCM on LinkedIn, that's for sure. So you have to do your homework, I suppose, at that point. Or if you know me, then of course you'll know. But yeah, it's really, really interesting. You know, you wonder, when do you stop worrying about what people say about you? And what do you have to lose? You know, and the reason why this even became a thought is because, okay, so I work a regular job. I don't make that much money at my regular job. Like, and then it's like, well, what's a lot of money? That question, eh? I guess it just depends on what you have to pay for. That would determine whether or not you have a lot of money. There you go. That's the answer. So that's how you can develop the answer to what is a lot of money. I mean, if you have $200 and no bills and no appetite, and you drink water and it can suffice your whole body development and sustainability, then $200, and you have no desire to get anything, you don't need anything, you're living on a beach somewhere, and maybe you know, whatever it is you have, then $200 is a lot of money, because it's going to last a long time if you have no bills and nothing to buy to eat and no one to pay off. But if you have $200 but your bills are $500, then you ain't got no money. Take your broke ass somewhere, because you ain't. You get the point. But I'm thinking, you know, I'm driving. I'm driving a regular car, and right now, if my car needs some work, here's a joke for you. I've been driving my car. Now, it'd be really bad if something actually happens, but somebody else was driving my car for a little while, and I got my car back, unfortunately, because the other person was supposed to take it over, but that's a whole nother story. But ever since I got my car back, now on purpose or on accident, because I did talk to a tire guy one time, I ended up with 2 nails driven into each of my back tires. I find it the weirdest thing, but apparently it happens. Maybe it's my cheap tires, whatever it is, or maybe somebody drove into a hotbed of nails. But it's there. So I've basically been having to fill my car up every 2 days. And it really pisses me off, because my tires are actually good tires, and they're still good, and they have a lot of tread left. The problem is somehow there's a nail on the side of the wall of the tire, which that doesn't usually happen. Usually you get a nail in your tire because you ran over it. Well, this nail is kind of diagonally into. It doesn't really ever hit the ground. So there's like half a centimeter sticking out at all times. Now, if this was on the bottom, it would have been eventually jammed into the tire, and either air would come out, or if it was put in a weird angle, air wouldn't come out, but you would just see the nail like you do on the left side of my car. On the right side now, as I said, it's in the wall of the tire, and apparently from Googling it and from talking to the tire guy, is that type of damage on a tire is irreplaceable or unfixable. There you go, irreplaceable, unfixable. So I've been filling this thing up. Why? Because I work a regular job and I have to pay regular support to a certain someone, and therefore it doesn't allow me to actually get myself new tires. I almost did. I almost got like the tires of my dreams. Some big, fat, nasty tires with some dirty rims. That's what I wanted to do. I don't know why. It's like ghetto dreams or something. And I ain't even from the ghetto. Imagine. But yeah, I wanted to get these rims, and I almost did. I almost, hey man, put it on the card here, but I didn't do it. But of course, I'm saying, and bringing this all back to the podcast, weird enough, right? The reason why I didn't, I didn't do that I didn't get the tires because I have to keep my credit straight, and lo and behold, maybe I would not be able to pay back in a sufficient enough amount of time, and therefore just paying a bunch of credit charges and have my credit rating go down to nothing for tires. Whereas I could probably just buy 2 tires for substantially less and just go on with my humdrum existence type of lifestyle and be safe on the road. Anyhow, so going back again to the LinkedIn profile, I was like, what if somebody would say like, oh wow, you run a great podcast, we didn't know you existed, and we were hoping that you could maybe run our company's podcast, or maybe we'll pay you to be on our podcast to talk about regular people stuff or something like that. But here I am all skittish about publicizing my own podcast with my own views. Now, mind you, my podcast, since I didn't say it, is for entertainment purposes only, and I do not profess to be a professor of anything. So there's that. But yeah, it's like it's hard. It's hard making these decisions, harder than you would think it would be. People would just say, you know what, okay, we'll just go, use a pen name, and go off of that, which I kind of do anyways. I don't use my government name on my podcast as it is, but in my case, it wouldn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what my full name is, and if somebody was out for me, they could try to mess up my life, I suppose, if I said something that was unfavorable, which I basically do all the time, to tell you the truth. I don't keep with society's popular narratives in any way. I bring up my own ideas, and it's difficult, because people will say, they care about individuals from certain, let me see if I can find something. They care about people from all walks of life, and they want everybody to have the opportunity to succeed in society, and therefore they care about marginalized or historically marginalized populations, people from those populations, and they'd like to give them opportunities to apply for these jobs. And I don't know if I would want a job like that, and I definitely know I wouldn't want a job like that, to tell you the truth. And so anyway, that's the thing with the LinkedIn, and what I haven't yet done with my profile. And who knows, maybe hardly anybody's even going to stop by my LinkedIn, so it won't even matter. But it's like, you just want the ability to say what you want to say, and to feel that you have to be minimalized, or you have to be marginalized, or you have to be put into a box if you want to be able to work for such and such because of whatever the reason is. It's like, it just doesn't feel good. Let me see, I'm going to just click on a random one. Here we go. I'm going to click on this one. It's actually a place that I thought of trying to work for, just to make ends meet. You have a job that pays the bills, and then you try to get a second job so that you can buy the extras, the tires and the rims and the nonsense that just make you happy within yourself, or whatever it is. But yeah, here's one. Here's the joke. I tried to apply for this company. It's called TJX. And they wrote me back and apparently let me know that I wasn't qualified or whatever it is, or they've decided not to go or proceed and try to hire me or whatever the case is. Let's see. I wanted them to say, no, they don't say it here. But anyway, all these companies, they go on with this big spiel about the people that they're trying to help, the poor, Black, Indigenous, colored people, or the marginalized populations and all that stuff. And well, you didn't hire me, but like, I just want to, honestly, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I wanted to find a job where I could just kind of sit off into the corner somewhere and do a job without the stress, without having to use the ends of my brain. Just something simple. I'm contributing to a company's prosperity, and I'm contributing to my own prosperity, and I'm helping people in the progress, in the process, and everything is happy and great. But unfortunately, I'm having a hard time. The ones that would hire me want me to work overnight. I have a job, so that's not gonna. It's like, when would I sleep? And then the ones that are kind of cool, I can't get for whatever reason. Even maybe I'm overqualified or whatever the case is. But it's difficult. And I think of, people my age, who were kids in the 80s, and I'm just going to speak from my culture's point of view. Many people could probably say the same thing, but it's like, we had a difficult time from my people's island. I'm not going to speak of anybody else's island, because I wouldn't know enough. That would be the truth. But, being a Jamaican kid back in the 80s, where people only wanted to be able to say the Jamaican swears, the Jamaican slang, eat Jamaican patties and eat Jamaican curry and listen to Jamaican music and run as fast as Jamaicans and say, yeah, man, and go to Jamaica and sleep and chill on the Jamaican beaches. But all that stuff felt positive. Someone like me who really had to work hard in school to pass any classes properly without getting just a 50, so I don't have to see you again. And attempted to go to college when I graduated high school, which I did. And if I really talk about it, I had a difficult time in college at the first time around. I was a kid, Christian, Jamaican background, and I'm in college now in the early 90s, and this new age Eastern philosophies and these different things are floating through the downtown core of Toronto. At least I don't know what was happening in the Scarborough colleges or whatever it is, but there was a lot of Wiccan, earthy ideas back then. There's a lot of I think, therefore I am, which a lot of people think is a lot of baloney now. But a lot of the different philosophers and psychologists of the time, not at that time, but those were being pushed, and those were the ideas. And if you came in there saying that, I know I exist, I know I am someone, I know that God created the heaven and the earth, and I know the difference between David and Goliath, and I know Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and I've read Ezekiel and Isaiah, these books of the Bible, Micah and Lamentations and Proverbs and Songs of Solomon and Psalms and Revelations, Exodus, Deuteronomy, Genesis, and you've read all these things, and this is who you are. right? And then you get to college and they're trying to rip this stuff out of you. And then, you bring it forward now, and these people who were telling you that science has disproved and there was a big bang, and Christianity can't answer all these different questions, and science has disproven this, and the rings in this tree means that it is 6 million years old, and we found the first man frozen and he must be at least 50,000 years old, and we found tusks from this, and blah blah blah, this, that, the other, boom 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 boom, science, 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 down your throat, down your throat, down your throat. And then fast forward to 2020 or thereabouts, and now they're saying that science cannot tell you what a woman is, what a man is. Okay, so you disproved everything with science, apparently, right? And now when people have certain, it's there's that, right? And then you can talk about, people want to talk about things that happen, say, in a country like Canada, to, say, people who they called Indians, First Nations, Indigenous, the different tribes that were in North America, things that happened to them, like, kill the Indian in the child, and, colonize, bring the child forward to believing in Catholicism, or maybe apparently the Presbyterian Church had something to do with it somewhere along the lines there. But, the residential schools where these kids were told not to speak their languages, they were put in European clothes, they were made to celebrate European holidays and learn to read European books, and all of that. And it was like, forget where you're from, forget what you've been told, forget what your religion is, forget about your clothes, forget about your culture. You're doing this now, right? And now they're saying that, the Christians did this. It was the church's fault. It was the Catholic Church. They did this, and we want all these apologies over here, and here. And that's how we feel about it for these set of people, the indigenous peoples, in this way. This is, they deserve their right to be who they are, live how they are. They deserve apologies. I think they deserve a lot more than just apologies, but apparently they deserve their culture to be a part of Canadian society as well, and they deserve apologies. Now, that's what happened. Now, if you fast forward again back to everything else that's happening, it's now these ideas of Christianity are now upside down, and the bad of life in all ways to many people. For some reason, many people believe that there's nothing that's been gained from society by having the mainstay of morality in the society, Christian values. First, it was, there was prayer in church. Prayer in schools. And that was taken out in, let's say, the 80s. I can't say it's helped us, but many people would probably say it's helped somehow. Sure. I got this list. I was kind of trying to avoid it, but You know, I was in a group discussion. That's all I'm going to say. Keep it simple. And I asked a question because more and more, I really wanted to get into the being brought up Jamaican in Toronto, or the GTA, and talk about the difficulties that one has had, or I have had, and many like me have had. It's fitting into society. It's finding a career. You know, turning around and waking up and saying, oh, wow, I'm 50. What can I do? I'm a jack of many trades, but unfortunately, the way that I've been raised or the way I've been educated, it's that somebody would be very hard pressed to pay me for something that was more than an entry-level job. And maybe that's just me, and that's something that I just have to live with. Maybe it's my disability, learning disability. Maybe it's my effort. Maybe it's my culture. And maybe it doesn't bode well with society. I don't know. But then I have those who have done the education thing, who have come from where I've technically come from as far as culture or Jamaican background is concerned, and they've been able to get certain things, but then that you find out that they're dysfunctional in other ways that you're not, and you're sitting there saying, why can't you just do this? And they're saying, I just can, and it's not working. Maybe the family life or kids or relationships, whatever it is like that. And you're over here saying, man, you have this. I can't get any of those things. And you're concerned about the family life. And those are your difficult things. And it's like, it's sad. It's like, you know, we come from a culture of dysfunction, but with so much pride at the same time. And, you know, I really do want to get into it one day, and I haven't even, now for me to even getting through this, but let me just get through a couple things that I was saying in a discussion with people who don't look at things the way I do. But let me see if I can expound on it just a little bit. Okay, so I asked this question, and it ended up causing a lot of thought, and it disrupted a little bit. And hopefully this will make sense in some way, and someone will understand what I'm saying. I'm not going to be very specific. But it said, I asked this question, I said, how do we make it, and by it I mean the transition, comfortable for those who are open to change, but may have a differing of opinion on many ideas? How do we make them feel free to share and discuss when cancel culture is so prevalent? And I got questioned, what is cancel culture? And it's like, that's a question you have to ask me. We know that if you do something stupid in society now, or if you have done something stupid in society that has been recorded or that can be talked about by various individuals, that something like the Me Too movement will come and get you. Now, not saying that it shouldn't. If you were doing all kinds of wickedness back in the day and people have finally come together, not for their own, well, whatever reason, then yeah, I guess. But even now, when you do something stupid, or you tweet something dumb, or you say something on a camera or on recording, people will come for you. If you matter a little bit, especially. if you are an influencer. And this was the topic of discussion. People wanted to question about what is cancel culture. Like it doesn't exist. People have made mistakes and have been basically canceled. Or what do you want to say? Reprimanded? Or do you want to say that they grabbed the shovels or the pitchforks and the torches? What do you want to say? Mob mentality? Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Don't ask me dumbass questions. And I'm sorry I said that word. But it just ticks me off when people like literally act like if they don't see what happens in society. Are they only looking on one end? Or maybe, and I'm saying maybe it is true. Maybe people really are that way, because I still see people wearing these COVID masks in their car by themselves or riding down the street. And I've come to realize this is my idea. I don't think many of these people are wearing these masks because they think that COVID is going to fly out of the sky and hit them in their face while all the windows are closed in their BMW. I believe that many of these people are literally wearing those masks so they cannot be identified by AI. But the rest of us dummies are running around with our faces fully exposed. I could be wrong, but something tells me I'm probably not. And they're probably not going to let on to it until it's too late. I mean, we've already been taking pictures of so many times. And I mean, if you are on YouTube or if you're on Spotify with your face, then they've already got you. Many are just fearful that speaking out may jeopardize their livelihood. And I mean, if you have kids to support, if you have a spouse to support, or you have a lifestyle to maintain, you may not want to go from your $500,000 condo to living in a cardboard box because you couldn't pay the taxes because you got fired and you couldn't pay your mortgage. Like, you know what I mean? So they want people to come out with talk about these different topics, but it's like, even the little people now have a lot to lose. They'll just fire you. They're not only going for like, wacko jacko people like of Michael Jackson's stature, whatever it is. They're going for the little people too. And you're just going to become a byword. That's the funny thing. Nowadays, when you get canceled, it's like you're the talk of the town today, and then tomorrow you're not the talk of anything. I was hearing about Andrew Tate before I've even heard of him. I heard probably no less than 40 to 50 people say something about, oh, you really side with Andrew Tate. And I didn't even know who this dude was. And then they took him off every social media platform, except for probably Rumble. And he was banned from YouTube, and he didn't even have a YouTube channel. So then what did I do when I had the first opportunity to hear what he had to say? I listened, and he did a podcast for it's like 3 or 4 hours with what's his name? Patrick Bet-David, the Value Entertainment guy. And besides him harping on the the Paul brothers, and besides swearing and having a couple weird viewpoints, I agreed with a lot of what he had to say, and it was because he was talking straight up stuff that I've been raised to hear and to understand. This world is upside down. And you know who said that first? My sister. And I thought it was so cool when she said it. This is before she passed away, before she was diagnosed with cancer. She said, Mike, she said, this world is upside down. Things are upside down. And that really, I was like, who are you? Upside down. You in the upside down. I heard that in a movie one time. I thought it was the coolest thing. And I always thought my sister is a square, you know. And to hear her say it, but then it's there's really no better word for it. What was good is now bad. What was bad is now good in culture, in relations, in sexuality, in religion, in belief system, in ideology, in just so many different ways. And now we are supposed to, those who were brought up at a different time, we are dinosaurs to this world. And apparently everything that we believed that had to be based around some type of fact, some type of scientific analysis, some type of experimental whatever, stuff had to happen. The science had to prove some things. And now there's no basis for anything we're finding. You know, when you go into court, they make you swear in the Bible, right? Well, now that the Bible is totally defunct, apparently, to these people, and it's totally being disrespected in so many different ways, it's like, well, I guess you just pick your moralities. You pick your Bible, maybe, that you can lay your hand on. I don't know, or your religious book, or your comic book, or whatever it is. Everything's just so different. I wanted to go over some more of these, but I'm going to stop there and possibly get into them the next time. But I will say this. Now, I can't remember who said it first, but they probably didn't say it the way I'm going to say it now, but basically the gist of it is, if the world should be liberal, then I should be allowed to be conservative. I just want the right to think for myself, because if I touch the stove while it's hot, I am going to be burned. You're not going to be burned. If I decide to deny my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who is the Lord and Savior of my life, then I am going to burn in hellfire. If I do not believe me. If you want to go ahead and do that because you believe that nothing goes that way, or nothing no goes so, that's on you. Maybe you haven't been given the faith to believe. I don't know. But I believe. But now I can't profess to be a Christian. I can't speak from a Christian point of view because it's blasphemy now, because it's hurting people's feelings, or because it's now violence towards people. Oh, why? I love everybody. I try to do good to those that even do bad to me. But you can't sit there and try to make me profess what you want to profess as truth, when I know that what you're professing as truth is nothing but nonsense according to the Bible. Not me. You know? But anyway, I've hit an hour, so I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to prolong this any longer. Anyhow, this is MCM, and you've been listening to You're Probably Right. Thanks for coming out and listening. Take care. Hey, come check out You're Probably Right podcast. Society is getting more unpredictable every day, but at the same time, predictable in its unpredictability. Say that 4 times real fast. Come with me as I attempt to find clarity in all the fog while staying way outside the box and kicking the box way down the road with my size 12 dogs. I use the Bible, experience, education, fortune, misfortune, life's lessons, life's mistakes to sort through all the mess. I talk about news, God, God, self-help, sports, sickness, health, music, parenting, love, humbleness, hurt, pain, joy, and all the things that might make you say, I never thought of it that way. Hopefully, anyway. Also, I take a stab at answering tough and not so tough questions, and all the while, understand that, listen, sometimes you end up in the hot seat and there's no thermostat. Well, that's how it is here. And because there's no topic, very few topics off the table, Torontonians will understand that Doug Ford reference there. Hopefully the podcast will be helpful and uplifting. And hey, maybe you'll find your own private Idaho here somewhere. Hope to see you soon.